That heifer right there just don't even care.
Straighten yourself out.
What do you say, folks?
Yeah.
Hope everybody having a good evening. We having technical difficulties. I push buttons.
No matter how many times I say the word stop pushing buttons,
The
that's
phone.
all he does. Just push buttons.
Well, we're running a little bit late, and I was trying to get the Wi-Fi going on the phone, and now my phone just wants to buffer while she was typing everybody.
No matter how many times I tell him the phone will not run Wi-Fi and YouTube at the same time.
Here we are.
No matter how many times I say the words.
Welcome to the show, people.
Yeah,
But here we go.
maybe.
It's trying to go.
Yeah.
Hope everybody had a good week. Ours was productive.
That's a good adjective for it.
Well, I tell you what, I hate doors. I know that.
Big time.
I know we had mentioned last week we was trying to wrap some doors up we've been working on and was hoping that we'd been done Monday. This time. And well, nope. Things went afoul. What was that old Murphy's Law? Something could go wrong, it sure enough went wrong.
I think that's now been adopted as the Blake's Law.
Because it just, I mean, it went upside down. Then couldn't get folks to understand why whenever you shorten a door, that standard doors won't fit there anymore and all that good stuff. And it just, we got past it, but there was some aggravation, but we got past it.
Yeah. It's been an interesting.
It had. Then, what
Next door.
else? It drug out for,
Like
well,
an extra 3.5 days. We drove out.
yeah, because we took Friday off, I believe.
No,
No,
we didn't.
no,
No. We were on the road all day doing estimates and picking material.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah. We didn't take off.
No,
I was thinking, wait, I missed that day.
we got them all bunched together. But we did have to make a mad dash to. That was one of them. Because we was in a hurry one of the days because we had to go over there and get some queens for the
Yeah.
brother at church.
That was Wednesday, I think.
And
I don't know, they're all running together.
all that just, that whole day went back. Because we was trying to be on time to go get the queens, go see the fella over at Moss Point. Because the brother in church, y'all, some of y'all may remember, but we talked about him last year a little bit. Him and his family, they was wanting to get them one colony, keep around for their little old garden and flowers and all that there at the house. And well, coming into spring, the way his work schedule is, that he wasn't able to get into the colony the way he was really wanting to, because he kind of like Lee. He works at a plant, and it's 12 hours this, 36 days a month, and he had called me up last week after church. And he said, Tim, we went out there and we checked that box, and I got a couple of questions for you. So we went through a few things, and what we finally narrowed it down to is the mama swarmed, then her baby swarmed, and it left pretty well nobody left up in that little old single colony because due to cash swarms and all that good stuff from the virgin. Well, he had a few, I don't know, we'll say about 5 or 6 frames of bees, the way he was talking, out of a double deep. And, well, lo and behold, we ended up working it out as,
I'm trying to read.
okay, Carl said, take him up the prayer list. Y'all bear with us. We letting the phone reboot to catch up with us.
Still trying to make it stop reeling from all the buttons somebody pushed.
Where's that?
Which one is his ordeal? And
Oh, yeah. Lo and behold, figured out he had a land worker. Because he's like, man, I've never seen so many drones up in a colony before. And is this normal? And pretty well, it's like, well, you're supposed to have some, but
not the whole colony.
Not your whole population, pretty much. Well, he was able to work it down to where he could do 2 nuke splits. And we went over to Moss Point and got him 2 queens over there. Went and talked to that fella for a little bit, and then, oh my word, we run into there was another gentleman over there picking up boxes and frames and lids and bottoms and the whole kit and caboodle.
Mm-hmm. He had a truckload of stuff.
But y'all, I enjoy talking to people. I'm the talker out of the group between Hannah and myself.
If y'all hadn't picked up on that yet.
And even strangers, we can carry on good conversation. Hey, we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about for the most part. Well, this dude liked to talk, and he kept on and on and on, and we finally we was inching our way to the truck and going, all right, man, we'll holler at you later. Take it easy, so on and so forth. And I don't know, we tried getting out of there, 30 minutes? Even with me hushing my mouth?
Yeah. It was a while.
Because when we pulled up and we got there, the fella he had, over there at Moss Point, he had probably, I don't know, 70 nukes out on the ground that he was getting ready to sell. And 1 or 2 of them over there was swarming. So there was
bees everywhere.
Then so you had nukes to the right, a few of his colonies that he has there in his yard to the left, and it was just like a constant back and forth, back and forth. So we're trying to hurry up with Hannah standing out there, making sure she wouldn't get in a bind in any way. And
oh, I was watching it big time. I didn't get far from the truck in case I had to make a dive for it.
Thank the Lord, though.
No, it was fussy.
Wasn't no issue on that end. And we got on back to the house. But there's no beekeeping here at Gunline this week.
Other than dropping the queen in.
Yeah, we went and picked up an extra one for ourselves. We did let one colony get away from us. We pretty well had the same issue there. But we got her remedy too. Back online. And that's pretty well the extent of our beekeeping for the week. Which, to be honest, it's just like I said, but one of those weeks we ain't had time to do much of nothing. Get home late, start over again in the morning. You back online? No.
I'm gonna try to get a comment to go through, but
Well, let's see. Let me
this
check out
is
some of the last comments.
bugging like stupid.
I don't know why it's doing it, man. Bear with us.
Because
Technical
of
difficulty.
everything you've been running.
Let's see. Did it come up?
I Todd did make it in tonight.
Well, there we go. That's something we talked to Todd yesterday. Loma Vista, or was it? Yeah, yesterday because he was out and about.
Is it a market or something?
Yeah, doing some work on the weekend. Sounds like he's trying to get caught up himself. Bees are going crazy. Everybody got bees going crazy. If I did all the beekeeping news on swarms, my word, I'd have
Everybody.
a list and then some. Mm-hmm.
All right, and I just saw your. Put it right beside it. I just saw your comment about Miss Chris, and so I'm gonna put a note by y'all's name.
Yeah, Carl said we can take him off too. We'll get in that in just a moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Trying to see. Y'all, I'm sorry if I missed anybody coming in. I just got this phone back running again. Oh, Blaine's in here. Now it's
text him.
stopping.
I don't know. Phone's just gonna go haywire, so we might have to go back and look at y'all's. If there's anybody on the prayer list we need to add to, take away from, just put them on here and we'll go back and check them out here in a little while since these phones wanting to act up this evening. It's been working fine all day long.
What is Blaine's?
Can y'all add one of my landowners? And
Stupid shit.
we sure will, Blaine. Yes, sir. Let me put that up there. We have to keep up with the chat on this end of it.
What's his name, Blaine? If you don't mind me asking.
Said he's got terminal cancer.
Yeah,
Okay, so you can see it on the comment.
a second. Because I don't see his name.
What'd you say, Matt? Good to see you there, brother. Appreciate you coming in. I'll go through and try to get some. Well, I will shout out to everybody I can on this here. Let me rummage through here. Did see Southeastern Colorado was in here earlier. Deb, the Sun Bunny. Good to see you, ma'am. Ed, Keith Spillman, Danae and Jack, Russell Amon, Michael Tangway, Randy, Tar Hill, Carl, his two B brats, Keith Spillman, Hallelujah Be Farm. Who else here? Morris Homestead. Kimberly Smith, good to see you, ma'am. Appreciate you coming back visiting with us. Lee at Kodiak. I think you made beekeeping news again. No, not this week. But we'll let everybody know what's going on
What?
with Lee and him. Minnesota Mike, good to see you, brother. James Noel, Sarah, Happy Hives, Matt again. Let's see. Barry Kind Bees, good to see you.
Mhm.
Did I say Minnesota, Mike? Okay.
Sarah,
All right.
that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that.
Appreciate everybody.
Her daughter's so good.
Good deal. That's great to hear. Yes, ma'am. Hopefully her recovery will be quick, fast, in a hurry and be on her feet for too long. Uh, let's see, you got Carl.
Yeah, oh, so I'm trying to catch up, but the phone's still like 20 minutes behind here.
Oh, it's getting me way behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why that thing's dragging the way it is. It shouldn't be carrying on like that. But anyway, uh, you want to go through your prayer list and I'll see if I can work on that thing.
I don't want you pushing any more buttons on this thing. It's having enough trouble. Okay. Alright. We got Mr. Mark Miller, Ed, and his wife, Miss Chris. And y'all, he just said she's having a heart cath this week. So definitely be praying for her. Miss Deb, the Sun Bunny, Grammy Lisa. We got her son, two granddaughters, and an unspoken request. Bob and his family. Tom's mother-in-law, Bob's friend Jason Cooper, Mr. Donnie, Michael Tangway's wife, Miss Sandy. Please, Sandy.
Oh,
Um, Miss Carla Green, DC's parents, but especially his mama.
Minnesota Mike saying Mr. Vince. Thanks everybody.
DC's brother Jerry, Emma Hoskins is David Hoskins' little granddaughter. Baby Luca, the baby that needs a heart transplant. Canada Brad. Didn't they say take off the Brown daughters?
Yeah.
And then these are Phillips people. Deanna Wheeler is his mentee's best friend. Philip's mama, his cousin Lorinda, his friend BJ and his wife, and then his mentee, Rachel Wilson. And I think I'll move all them together. Yeah, and then Rachel's sister Amanda, her other sister Riley, and Riley's baby Aubrey Rose, and Philip's mother-in-law. And then Sarah's daughter Crystal is still on here, but she said her surgery went well and she's recovering. So that's really, really awesome to hear, Sarah. The Jennifer Brown family, Russell Amon's wife, Miss Brenda, Queen Bee's honey, Jeremy and his family, um, Bobby's Bees and his family, Minnesota Mike, his friend Mr. Vincent, his brother Dave, Kennedy Bowman, Mike Brown, who's Ed's dad, Aaron Frederick, Mr. Larry and Miss Sherry Gandy, and Mr. Larry's mama, the Cheryl Faulkner family, Keith Larimore, Hillbilly Earl, the Paris family, and that's the Dirt Roosters in-laws. What? Sandy from Icy Mountain Honey, her young family member with meningitis. Our buddy Lee is on here. I think he said he's pretty well back to normal with his leg though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then Created with Tuck, Pieces of April, The Pescatarian, the Montalbano family, Bruce with his bees, his granddaughter Unsong, Steve Amos's brother, Danae's grandmother. And Danae, didn't she finish radiation this week? Or am I dreaming on that?
I think she said this week was
I think
the
she
final.
said this was her last week. And then Martin Mohawk, Minnesota Mike's cousin, Spanky at the Filament Corner, the Heffley Hives, Philip's friend Steve Lacey, Israel, and all those affected by the war going on. The storm victims from the last round of storms, not this one. Slow down buttons, especially the people in, where was it? New Orleans and Slidell. I don't know her name, so would you stop, please, just for a minute? But I just put Mrs. Jaggs on here, but Jaggs Farms' wife is recovering from surgery. Sean Balters, his wife, is recovering from shoulder surgery. And then Mr. Ron, who Blaine just added, Miss Deb's brother, she said he's recovering from shoulder surgery. And then this week's additions were the tornado victims from where?
Kansas, Iowa,
Nebraska, right?
I think parts of Nebraska, and some folks in the northern portions of Texas.
Yeah. And then, I'm not gonna go into detail. I don't know if he's in here or not, but I'm gonna add PJ Hanley with Hanley's Homestead. He put a post on the Book of Faces, and this really sounded like he needed some prayer. So we added him on here. And then if the phone will ever work, we'll get any new additions.
It's called up now.
tonight.
All I had to do is just touch a few buttons. And
Okay, we'll give it back before you do it again and completely kill it.
we got the bugs worked out too.
I hope.
For the
Lord
moment.
willing.
Where'd you put them?
I couldn't get comfortable with it. I threw it down.
So
Oh, good deal, Danae. So she can finally get a break. So she did finish radiation and she's doing great.
that's great to do.
Oh, Keith, he said, Lee is normal.
Well, I guess everybody. I mean, this is, or I don't know. This may be a everywhere at the hospital thing, but whenever you finish your treatments, you ring the bell. Is that at all hospitals, or is that just something they kind of do down and around at ours?
Matt, I just saw your comment, but I'm adding you now.
But it's a wonderful thing whenever you can hear folks being done when all that treatment and mess, and kind of get back to your quality of life, if you will, to as much as you can there.
And y'all look too, I hadn't said it in a few weeks, but I'd really appreciate it if y'all would pray for my family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Oh, hey, DC. I didn't see you come in.
yeah, just keep Hannah's whole family. There's a couple different things that we pray the Lord to get worked out for too long, but uh, just a lot going on our end on that kind of stuff. But Mr. Dan, we were good to see you back in here, brother. Hope all
2
is
weeks
doing
in
well.
a row.
Yep. And Blaine, he got that new Wi-Fi or internet.
He just said he was dipping out to go eat supper. He'll be back soon.
All right, don't be long now. You won't be keeping news tonight.
There's several people that are saying they have a bill
Well, good deal. So it's all over the place. That's awesome.
from Texas to New York. Isn't Larimore in Texas?
No, he's up in Carolinas up there.
Oh, well, from there to New York.
Mm-hmm. Sarah says in Indiana they ring the bell.
Mm-hmm.
We are DC. It just you get wore out, I guess, mentally and physically, and that's just a lot of what's kind of catching up to Hannah and myself on that end because Hannah has been kind of well, I ain't gonna say kind of stepping up a lot, being a caretaker with her grandma on the weekends, and that's like one of the reasons we're often a few minutes behind on our chats here lately. It's because we're flying from her grandma's house to get here, let Jasper out, and let him run off some of his energy from being in puppy prison all day, and
Mm.
on top of the health issues going on in the families. But
I guess
got everybody caught up now.
I don't know. It's not showing the chat anymore.
Uh-oh. My headset over here is working just fine for whatever reason over here.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I rummage through and do the beekeeping news and open up the chat because I've just got a small piece if nobody comes in on and y'all want to chit chat as far as the bee journal tonight. And we'll go from there. But on this week's beekeeping news, I need to make what they call it, like a segment piece where we can hit a button,
Yeah.
then it does the thing for the beekeeping news. Need to get with you, Lee.
We need some more schooling, Lee.
Yeah, and figure out some kind of beekeeping news. If I can find my attire that I would like that I've been searching for the last I don't know, few weeks. I think Hannah thinks that I've forgotten about my get up that I'm looking for. But I just haven't
He forgot about his get up he's looking for.
I just haven't found the right one yet. I got to find this one certain. I guess I could tell them about it, huh? What the attire is.
Then you ruin the surprise.
Well, you're right. Okay, I'm terrible about that, y'all.
Oh, he is. He can't stand it.
All right, Lee. Appreciate you. I'll be getting in touch. We'll figure. We'll get something worked out, especially as soon as I can find that one little vital piece that I'm looking for. I've got everything else, but I just need this one certain piece to put it all together, and it'll be complete. I found some, but it's just not suiting my fancy, if you will. What you got?
I missed one of these things coming.
Need a prayer list back?
Mm-mm. No, I didn't know Stafford might. I just saw him come in, but he said he rang the bell in Portland a few years ago. I did not know you had went through that, Mike.
Hey, you found my little pictures on the what you call it? The sticker things. Well, the other day I was rummaging through on the member stuff,
Mhm,
and you can download what they call it, emojis or something.
mhm.
And I was just hitting buttons, putting pictures in and naming them different stuff. I didn't know it was going to really go through and work, but
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. She found one there. Got it pinned to the deal. Heck yeah. All right. Now that I know they'll work, I'll try to put some more little professional ones on there versus just pictures.
Darren's got a suggestion. He said maybe Gunline Bees will expand the annual honey contest to include cream honey.
We can do that. We can do that, Darren. Absolutely, brother.
Matt found one of your emojis too.
Look at there, people.
That's
Awesome.
wild. I didn't even know you could do that.
Me neither. But I went in and what I was trying to do was find the members list,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Oh,
I seen all the members on there,
so the
and
only members can use it?
yeah, I think it's like a members emoji thing or something, or
Oh,
sticker, whatever they call it. And I found this one little section where it said you can put your own stuff in there. So I hit the deal, and it gave me options to pick from the gallery on my phone.
mm,
So I just started sticking pictures in there, and it said you had to name them. So I don't remember what I named them. I think one was like Brood or something, and there's a see if Jasper's picture come in there. I think there's one of Jasper on there.
are you serious?
Yeah, with him in the
No,
chair.
Todd, we're not making that mistake again.
Uh,
He said the honey contest judge cannot be diabetic.
no,
No, we're not doing that again. And Lee said you take all the fun out of
yeah, look, Mr. Donnie, he enjoyed doing it. He still talks about it and everything, but
hmm
yeah, we're going.
He scared me though. 6 shots of honey in, and oh, I didn't bring my diabetic medicine.
What, Mr. Donnie?
Thinking, oh my word.
Again, we talked about maybe having our preacher, doing it whenever we was trying to rummage through and figure either between him or Mr. Donnie, and we may talk to Brother Sammy and see if he'll jump in this year and be the taste tester. He's not diabetic, is he?
No,
Okay.
not diabetic.
All right. Well, now we
We'll
call it.
find somebody.
Is your internet working now?
No,
No.
it's still just back and forth, in and out. It falls like 5 minutes behind. You try to fast forward it, and it freezes.
Well, let it catch up again while I'm doing beekeeping news. Okay.
Go for it.
Boom, boom. Beekeeping news. Mr. Steve Amos. We've never used one of these, and we had shared it on our community page today whenever I seen it. And I was thinking, well, that's something different that nobody really talks about or does. But he had gotten some of them transport nets to where you take and put a 5-frame nuke in, and it's supposed to keep the bees in the box if you're transporting it in a car or SUV or something along those lines. And he had 2 different kinds that he was using. And undoubtedly, the one with it has a zipper on it, and the smaller, I'm gonna say, area on it. From the way he was talking, apparently was the much better one to use. So if anybody's interested in checking out, or if you're interested in buying or wanting to know how well this brand does versus another brand, Mr. Steve Amos has got, I think it's about a 4 or 5 minute video on where he went got some bees from Ashby Miller, Ashby Farms there, and kind of give you an idea on which would be the best for you if you don't have a pickup truck and you're wanting to transport bees, or if you go to pick up a new, especially first year or two beekeepers. Uh,
Have you noticed him in here?
Steve Amos,
Yeah.
not yet. No.
Larimore said he needs some subs. I was gonna tell him to put a link to his channel in here.
Yeah, I tried mentioning that in the community deal, but Lee, if you still in here, would you share Mr. Steve Amos's link and anybody, or if y'all would go over and hit that subscribe button for him. Steve comes in and he supports all our beekeeping chats. And if y'all would go over there and hit that subscribe button for that man. I think whenever I looked at it earlier, he was at 11 or 12 on his. Now, granted, I don't know how often he's going to start putting videos out, anything like that, but just it's going to show him a little bit of support if y'all don't mind, because the man is a blessing to many of us in here by coming and supporting our chats and that kind of stuff.
Thank you, Lee. He's on it.
You got it? Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Let me see the playlist.
Oh, boy, that was quick.
Yeah. And Lee just said, I just drove down the interstate with nukes, a couple dozen bees flying free around me.
Who that, Lee?
Mm-hmm.
I think Steve said that he got stung several times, 10, 20 times, maybe a little bit more. If I remember right from the video. But yeah, I mean, it's a good little get up, and it's something that none of us really, I guess, think about, because we got a pickup truck. We just throw them in the back of the old truck and head home. But I will say, the times that when we have went and got them, and those little front doors supposedly locked down, well, that front door be shut and locked, but they may find them a little. This happened to us the last time we got a new, but they found a spot on the sides and come out of one of them sides on that. I guess like the Jester new is what we had got.
Yeah.
And by the time we had gotten home, I looked in the rearview mirror and Hannah was fixing to jump out and open up the gate. And good thing I looked in that mirror, because I started seeing bees flying up out of the back of the truck. And I told her, no, we got a breach in the system somewhere. And just another safe way to transport your bees if you're worried about any issues on that. Blaine, I guess he's still eating. But if you're listening, I tried to bribe him with $30,000 in funny money from a bribe that was sent to us last year, and going back, Darren, to the unofficial official honey tasting. That's what Blaine sent to us between him and Philip Morris at RTX. Them two was just sending bribes, the whole everything. And part of Blaine's bribery, we opened up that box and there was something else in there, but the main thing this always stick in my mind is we looked down in that box and we seen a wrap of paper that had $10,000 on it. And to look at it, I mean, it looks like real money.
Well, we thought we intercepted some kind of cartel shipment or something for a second.
Or one of those
'Cause it
scammer
looks
deals.
so real.
Yeah, the only thing that makes it any different than a regular $100 bill is if you look close, it says movie money on it.
Yeah.
But Blaine sent $30,000 worth of that in there. So I tried re-bribing him on he had made a homemade battery operated Beetleback. Anybody interested in that, y'all check out Blaine's. It ain't his latest video. I mean, did I say Beetleback?
You said
I'm
Beetleback.
sorry. Beeback. Battery operated. A cheaper version of something along the lines, kind of like the Everything Beeback, but the vacuum head and all that on it was a Ryobi brand, I believe it was. But Blaine was saying you can buy that Ryobi brand, but they have a conversion deal to where if you don't have any Ryobi tools, if you're a Milwaukee man or DeWalt, Makita, whatever it may be, you can buy that little conversion piece, stick it down in that Ryobi deal to where it'll run off your DeWalt, Milwaukee batteries, whatever they may be.
Blaine just said I'm back, folks.
He's back. All right.
He said I just got my adapters today.
Okay, yeah, adapters. And man, that's pretty cool little get up that he made. Just take one piece, separate it, make it 2 or 3 buckets, Cadillac right back on with it. So, bravo, my friend, bravo on that end. Let's see here, Square Bees. Mike, yep. He was doing some grafting on one of his last videos this week too, which I caught this earlier in the week. And for any of y'all interested, I know there's umpteen dozen videos out there for people grafting and all that, but he sat down and he kind of really went through and explained what he's doing, why he's doing it, and what he believes is the best picks for him off a brood. And his little old grafting table was pretty neat. I think he said he picked it up at the big conference this year or last year. And just a real simple setup. The only thing he done was added him a magnifying glass that's got a light on it where he can adjust it, move it around, and figure out which of the brood he wants to pull out of that puppy to do his grafting.
In between.
I can be.
Dad just asked, does anybody make and sell a small high beetle blaster that sucks them up? I don't know anybody that sells one, Dad, but we made one out of a little bitty, like a car size shop vac. And you can see it in some of our videos. But what kind of tube did you put in?
It's an older piece of water hose, the old skinny piece of water hose.
Yeah.
It's hard to find now, but you can find you a smaller diameter hose at any hardware store for the most part. And I just taped that rascal on there and let it,
It just reduced it down to like a pinpoint size hose.
yeah, and the hose, I don't know, it's probably about the size of my pinky, I reckon. It's just big enough to where you're not going to vacuum up a whole bunch of bees if you get on one. If you run across a bee, if you're good and quick enough with it, which you'll figure it out, but you can just kind of roll her off to the side a little bit or pinch that hose real fast
Yeah.
and she'll come out of it. But for the most part, 99% of the time, we don't vacuum up any bees.
No,
You can just
it's real
pinpoint them
easy
beetles.
to go around them with that little bit hose.
But not off the top of my head, I can't
Yeah,
think of
Todd,
anybody.
I knew somebody else did a video on it. He said he thinks the Bug Man made a video about one he made.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go check him out too, then. See if he got something there that may be able to help you out as well. Like I said,
Yeah.
mine is just redneckified.
Yeah.
It's
It was
duct tape.
just, we had to have something, so he put it together.
Yeah, it's nothing fancy, anything like that by any means, especially if your bees are more than 100 foot away, I guess, because we got ours running on 100 foot extension cord down to the bees down there, and it just barely makes it to that one last horizontal hive over there. But
So,
well, I was thinking somebody makes one of them things, y'all send me a check every month. I always got to throw that in there.
mhm.
All right, where was I at? Grafting with square bees. Then Bruce at the swarm stead. I know everybody's getting on these swarms right now, but Bruce had a pretty cool looking swarm. I have no idea where it was, but instead of them being in a typical swarm bundle, I reckon the best way to explain it,
Mhm.
they were more like a tree trunk look, just stacked up, a cylinder of bees. I guess the best way to explain what they look like. Thought that was pretty interesting. And seen an appearance, and I wish, I guess life and things like that may have him kind of tangled up on things, but seen old Houston Shelton put a video out the last day or so, and he was explaining about using old equipment for swarm traps.
Mm.
And Jay, my friend over there in Georgia, if you still in here, I seen you chewing on that honeycomb and that honey.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
You gonna call him out?
I sure am. That man found him a big old piece of fresh, beautiful this year comb, and I'm going to say I don't know for sure, but I think the way he was kind of describing it, it may have been some privet. It was light colored and all that it was. But yes, ma'am, he found him a piece and he was chomping down. I can't say nothing. Whenever we was out in ours the other week, I got
He
a
was
couple
doing the
pieces.
same thing.
Yeah, there's still a couple pieces over there in the bowl
Mhm.
I'll pick on in the morning times. But it's good, that fresh honey and that beautiful pearly white new comb and all.
I love seeing that new comb.
Let me go get it for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You better hurry.
I don't know how well it show
Yeah.
up in a white bowl, but
Look, Jay, last year,
yeah,
about
gonna
this
glare.
time, yeah, literally, I'm still waiting on somebody to bring my bowl back. Cause Tim we took we just had it laying in a bowl like that, and we took it, took it out to his truck when he pulled up to let him take a bite. And he was, just gonna take a bite and hand it back. And he just slid my bowl right on over the other side of his dash over there. He was like, "Darling, I'll bring your bowl back, but you ain't getting that honeycomb back."
Yeah, that's been over, what, a year now?
Yeah.
Where was that? Jay on the cone.
Yeah.
Keith Spillman. Well, I guess we can kind of put Lee and Keith Spillman on this one. Keith Spillman's extracting honey already. Lee extracted 245 pounds of honey in the last couple of days. And back to old Keith Spillman there at Half Tracks. That dude is killing it with swarms as well this year.
Man, I'm here drooling over all the swarms he's getting this year. It's like 3 times a day the man's finding bee swarms.
Well, we're starting to see it. Like the folks in the North Country, some of y'all are starting to get on it now. And who was Tom Mac Apiaries? He's already gotten on several swarms.
He said, "I got me some off a swarm last week. I got a jaw full and looked back and there was larvae."
No. Row. Protein, my
That's
friend.
what I was just
Protein.
fixing to say. You got your dose of protein.
Let's see.
Oh, Keith said, "I got them in swarm boxes now. I got to get them out tomorrow." Got 2 in swarm boxes now. Got to get them out tomorrow.
Take care, Randy. Appreciate you dropping by, bro. Who else?
We're still rambling.
Yeah. Back on swarms, I guess, for a second. PJ, we was mentioning him. Hanley's Homestead. Now, he does have a pretty awesome one on a tree.
Man, that was incredible to see.
But it's on the Book of Faces. For the ones of you on there, he put it on the No Life Beekeeper deal. So
page.
imagine many of y'all probably seen that, but I didn't see anything on his YouTube page where he had posted that. But it's a swarm just on one half of the tree. It looks like several feet of bees up and down that tree. Then, lastly, Phil, 33 Mile Bees. That man done went and got himself 30 new colonies,
Oh, I saw that.
according to his post as well. So congratulations on that, brother. Hope you have a phenomenal season and everything works out on that end. You can continue to grow it. Well, everybody this year. Continue to grow them yards. And hopefully it'll be a blessed season for everybody. Get your swarm traps up, which I know many of us have already kind of been that way for the last several weeks.
That's it, Mr. JW. He said swarms are great if they're not from my bee yards.
Yes. And we had that one that got away from us, and that put that one colony in a bind. And that's exactly where that one went foul on us. But we went and got that queen the other day, and I think they're gonna be all right. So, y'all, I'm gonna open up the chat. Y'all want to come in and chit chat?
A lot of people are calling it early.
Really? They tired of hearing me talk. Let me get this in.
Jay's laughing at Jasper trying to push me out of the chair.
Yeah, he's been in puppy prison for the last 7 days. Usually on the weekend, we'll let him run around. But
Brian said he's got 3 swarms in his truck right now.
Flower Street.
Yeah.
Uh, that's Sorry Joker. He been doing, old Jasper, been doing good.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Brian.
No.
I was like, what?
No. For the last 2 weeks, we've been letting him stay out while we've been going to work. And he's done fine. No problems. And we was like, well, maybe he's out of all this. I got to chew on everything while y'all ain't here stage. Well, last weekend, whenever we went out to work the bees and get ourselves situated out there, I don't know, we was out there several hours trying to get all that comb put in the frames and put together, and it was just a mess down there in the horizontal colony. So, long story short, it took us a while. And I had come in to bring that little bit of honey, that comb honey there in. And y'all, when I walked through the door, old Jasper got that look on his face of, I ain't done nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at my chair, and my chair has exploded. There's foam everywhere. There's cotton stuffing everywhere. Pieces of the chair all over the place. And I guess he got upset because we would not let him out, or we was outside him, whatever the case may be.
He ate my shoe, too.
Yep, ate
My
one.
only pair of tennis shoes.
Brand new, pretty well brand new pair of tennis shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's back on solitary confinement for him. 23 hours a day. Lock his tail back down. But
Well, Mr. Mike come in. The one night we was actually almost on time, Mr. Mike.
you late, Mr. Mike?
Uh-huh.
I bet you he was out there fishing on a fine day like this. But I tell you, we sure need some rain. The privet is pretty well died off out there. It's turning brown all up and down the highway. There's a few little sprigs here and there that still got some young flowers on it, but I mean it's dust bowl dry around here right now. If we don't get some rain, then next, I tell Hannah yesterday, we really need about 2 to 3 days of a good, steady, nothing crazy rain, but just good, steady rain. And that'll hopefully kind of kick off the old tallow, start getting it to blooming out a little bit more than it is. We're starting to see the tassels are starting to show, but we're not quite there yet on that end around here. I know Lee, he shot us a few pictures, I think it was. Ed sent us some pictures. The same thing going on around there, but we could sure use some rain to kick this on off.
Yeah, it got hot down here today too, Tom. He said they hit 88 in Ohio today.
Oh, no, we're probably,
It was at least mid-80s.
yeah, running about that. We did have a good breeze. I think somebody was telling me the other day that we're supposed to be starting to go to pushing into them almost 90-degree marks sometime in the next week or so,
Mm-hmm.
driving in the humidity. So I guess our spring, if you will, is fixing to
It's gone.
pretty well wrap up. But at least we had a spring this year. Usually we don't have maybe about 2 weeks of any kind of nice, cool, pretty days, low humidity, where it's actually enjoyable to be outside and doing anything before it turns off, 92 degrees with 100% humidity day and night.
Yeah. Oh,
See what else I see blooming. China berries fixing to bloom.
roses are blooming.
The roses are blooming. Your seven sisters.
Mhm.
I don't know if Rodney Middleton's in here or not.
He was. Yeah, and I forgot to add that comment on there where he asked that.
If you're still in here, Rodney, yes, sir. We looked them up, and those are seven sisters.
Let me correct that. We didn't look them up. Tim took the time and looked them up. I hadn't slowed down enough, but he did research it and is pretty sure they're seven sisters.
And that one bunch is the first. We've been waiting on these for those pink ones for almost
years now.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
We went and got them from an old 1800s home place. We had went metal detecting, and them things was everywhere out there. And we asked the lady if we could get some, and we didn't have any idea of what color they were on that pink bunch. And finally this year they opened them on up in bloom.
Hello, hello,
What you know
everybody.
good?
What do I know good? I don't know, man. Wrangling bees is about it.
Yeah.
I was out there today, looking through to see how much honey they've been building up. It ain't great, but I probably have something I could pull off before the tallow gets running. Tallow's running. I sent a picture to you a few minutes ago. They're about 2.5 to 3 inches long. The tassels right now on the tallow out here.
Somebody's saying they got rain.
It'll probably come through in a minute, Ed. If you sent it not too long ago, for whatever reason, my phone is lagging this evening. I'm glad it ain't doing it in Hannah's phone.
I thought about pulling stuff today, but I was like, man, I just didn't have the energy to do it today. I at least went out looking, checking the nukes to make sure the queens are laying. Found a couple don't have anybody laying right now, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to figure that one out. So, but a lot of the other hives I've got they're like jam packed, full of larvae and eggs and everything right now.
It just got here. And the way it's looking, like once again, I know keep beating a dead horse on this end, but looks like everybody's just going to have a great season on the beekeeping end now, especially on the honey. Like some folks are already having to extract for the first time and will have to do it again whenever their main flow kicks in. But I think this year for us is going to be more of getting the numbers back up on colonies. I mean, we'll probably get us enough honey to kind of keep around for Hannah and I, but I don't think it's going to be a big number to really do any marketing or selling of any honey on our end. But for the ones of you like yourself and others that's already sitting around and situated and got the frames ready to go.
Well, they're having to draw a lot of some new frames. I think that's why I don't have as much right now. Because last year I had some frames sitting around that were pretty well pulled. Now I'm having to pull a bunch of new frames, so that might be part of it. I got like maybe 5 frames, deep frames filled in one, and like 3 or 4 in another. But all the shallow ones I had, they've got those things packed. They're capping them. I'm just waiting for them to finish capping. So I got like 3 or 4 supers like that right now. So I might get a couple 100 pounds if I do it right. If I were to pull everything right now.
Sitting here rummaging through the comments, everybody's pretty well talking about they're having a good season, but Bob bringing this up and seeing it with Lee, and we've seen it a little bit ourselves already. Them blasted wax moths are on the warpath this year, bud.
I haven't had too many problems with that myself because, like I said, one time last year, one frame had some larvae in it, and I got that frame out of there and killed the larvae. But I've not really had any issues because I've not had a lot of extra wax sitting around either. The more I start building up, and say I start losing some colonies, I'd have extra wax frames sitting around, which would be an issue. So I haven't hit that bump in the road yet. You know, my 3rd season here, so
We
yeah.
we had quite a bit of drawn comb. I'd say probably got about, I don't know, there's 8 or 10 boxes out there left between deeps and a couple mediums. And all of the deeps we had drawn comb. And we put a little bit of eucalyptus oil out there before we went into winter, or our winter, if you will, and didn't have any problems with this year. Still had, coming in the spring, had several combs that had, you got the little rainbow, if you will, of honey over the brood area. We had several of those left over to where we was just, well, the bees can rob it out. But they never fooled with it. Even coming in the spring, they didn't touch it. And I was like, well, shoot, the doggone wax moths ain't, give us no fits. And I just kind of forgot about doing anything with them. Then whenever we went out to last weekend to get all them frames situated from the horizontal hives, man, I went out there and got to looking, and they were just starting the blasted wax moths. We're just starting to get into them. And I was like, well, here we go. So there were several frames that we had to, I just threw down for the chickens to get. I was like, y'all have at it. But
Yeah. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, looking like them wax moths are going to try to take full advantage of everything that they can this year.
Wayne said, I hate wax moths. They have no friends.
They're not a friend about it. That's for sure. Between them and the blasted hive beetles, but
I was talking with Lisa yesterday. I was talking to her. She's saying that she started seeing goldenrod starting to bloom, not bloom, but grow. I said, well, let me go check something. So I walked around the side of my house where I shook a bunch of seeds a couple years ago. They're already growing already.
Mhm.
Goldenrod, and that's, I've never seen it that early.
yeah, I had to pull some out of we got one of the little other flower beds out here. We got a whole bunch of Gerber daisies in it and some daylilies. And the last 2 years, there's been a few sprigs of goldenrod that have popped up in the middle of the daylily back cluster. And we let them go. Well, this year we started watching them come up as the daylilies were coming up. And this has been well over a month. And I was like, well, we'll let y'all go another year. Well, man, I don't know. We got home, we'll say earlier, one of the days last week, about 4 or 5 o'clock. And the doggone goldenrod had gotten so high in there and they was spilling out so much, they were starting to choke off our daylilies. So I went out there and I cut probably, I don't know, 15, 20 goldenrod out of our flower bed there. And some of them jokers were pushing about 4 foot tall.
I've never seen it bloom this early, not bloom, but grow this early. Usually it's later in the season.
He just said his field is full of goldenrod sprouts.
Oh, really?
And Blaine's going to get us some.
Go get them, brother.
Yeah.
Make us a video.
Set a couple hives out there, let them work on the goldenrod. See a bunch of hives work just goldenrod.
Well, even where we went and done the video last year out in the goldenrod field at one of the widow women from church, and she's probably, I don't know, 500 yards from us down the road down here, and her son-in-law had cut the old field after the goldenrod bloomed and died off, but now it made a beautiful run for the blackberry. Because them old briars, buddy, they took over out in that old mule's pasture.
Yeah.
But haven't seen the goldenrod pop up out there yet. And was like, well, Miss Sarah had tens of thousands of literally, probably, goldenrod out there in her field. And they ain't even come up yet. But the ones out here in the little daylilies, them jokers shot up. I guess all that rain we had gotten a few weeks ago maybe kind of helped spark that in.
Yeah, Tom, it's nowhere near blooming. Ours doesn't, it won't bloom till fall either, but the plants are shooting up way early this year.
Well, it can't be too dry.
Hmm.
So it can't be too dry if they're starting to come up early like this.
Shoot. I should have took a video when we let the dogs out earlier. They were running through the yard. Like they've got a little racetrack around that flower bed. I mean, literally, it looked like a dust storm. I opened my mouth to take a drink of coffee, and I had to spit dirt out of my mouth. There was so much dust in the air. I was like, Lord, y'all. Yeah, it is dry here.
Yeah, we ain't had no rain in, I say, probably a good week and a half, 2 weeks. Not a drop.
I'm hoping we get some next week.
Well, it was sort of spitting this afternoon a little bit. I mean, spitting. I mean, wasn't it really? It's like a mist.
Yeah.
For a little bit, and then that was done. But I mean,
No,
I'm starting to see more and more work, more and more work with these bees. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The more bees you get, the more work. Yeah, more work, more bees, more work.
That's what that fella was telling us over there when we went to Moss Point the other day. He's like, I only had 5 colonies or something, and he went on a cruise and he told us all about the cruise. And he said, when I come home, I knew I had to go to splitting. If not, I was going to lose a lot of what I had. And he ended up buying 12 more whole setup from the dude between boxes and lids and all that stuff.
Okay.
The fella over there in Early.
I know that's a chunk of change. Bottom boards, tops, frames.
Yeah, and he bought, did he get like 2 nukes from him too?
I think so. But the man that owns all that, I mean, we've talked. You've talked to the one fella before, but he's an Asian gentleman, and there's a bit of a language barrier. I guess he knows enough English for me to say "huh" and "what" a bunch of times before I finally understand what he's saying. And he was telling that the guy buying all the equipment, he was trying to tell him, said, you know, if you get beyond what you're going into now, your workload is really fixing to amp up on you, and you fixing to have a whole bunch of work ahead of you if you try to get beyond what you're doing by yourself on top of working. So
I mean, our things are hitting the privet, right?
yeah, they've been hitting pretty.
Mr. Larry Gandy was asking, has anybody seen bees on the privet because they're not working it there?
Yeah, they've been working ours around here. That's about the only. Go
Mine
ahead.
really didn't hit it. Mine really didn't hit the privet all that much. They're getting something else.
Really? It seems like all ours are bringing in.
Well, you saw those pictures I sent with of my yard with the privet tree in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they weren't hardly on it. The bumblebees were, and the carpenter bees, but they weren't really hitting it. I mean, they're like a few on it, really.
That's
Most of what they hit earlier was the holly bushes. They hit those, and then I don't know what they're after now, but they were busy today. My yard looked like a highway.
That's what they was getting on at your grandma's up there.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Which, I mean,
in the azaleas.
Yeah, they was all up in the azaleas. Then those two big, I'm not sure the variety of the holly tree, but when those things went to blooming, man, those jokers were.
They were everywhere. As Joey said, there's so much privet, the bees are scattered out more.
It could be too, spread out more, find a bigger source somewhere besides the yard. It could be.
I don't know. I'd be one of them bees. Look, hey, there's a privet right there, 50 feet from where we at. I'm gonna go hit that one, y'all.
Well, Mr. Laird said our bees are bringing in loads of nectar, but it's not privet. I mean, I just kind of assumed ours was privet because we see them on it, but it's just that real light, clear color stuff they're making, which is what our privet honey looks like.
Now,
a week and a half ago, I was traveling down the road. I took a 2-hour ride to go do a job. The whole way down that road, that's all I smelt was privet. All the way down that highway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it smelled good around here for a while because it was like, we get home, it's like, you smell that?
Mm-hmm.
When that wind would just come in the right direction or whatever, man, it'd just be just a good sweet smell in the air. And that other day when we was out cleaning up all that mess in the horizontal hives, the very first colony we got into, there was, I don't know, a piece probably, I don't know, 3 to 4 inches circumference that I pulled out of there, and it was full of nectar. And I took a bite of that, and all I could taste was blackberry. Well, then in the same horizontal hive, but 2 spaces down to where the other colony is, those pieces I was showing y'all earlier,
It's privet.
it's pretty. So,
But now a lot of jasmine is blooming like crazy here too. I guess that's gonna be a light colored nectar too, isn't it?
let me ask Mr. Larry Gandy, is your honeysuckle doing real good this year too?
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. Our honeysuckle's starting to open up like crazy with the jasmine.
Yeah, I've noticed that around town here too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what
But
else.
ours is Confederate jasmine, right? Not the Carolina
What?
jasmine.
Our Carolina jasmine blooms early spring. That's the
Yeah.
yellow. And we've got
White.
the white is Confederate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's blooming now.
Now I don't see a bunch of these right immediately around the house, but I imagine there are some. But the tulip poplar, we have noticed, like going through different areas of the smaller communities around here, around us, which our communities are real small anyway. But uh,
There's a lot more of that we're seeing this year.
yes, a
Mhm.
whole bunch of the tulip poplar this year. And I don't know about this. This is something I haven't looked up to see if the bees pulling nectar off of. But the tongue trees. Now, whenever we get up close to Hannah's grandma's house, there used to be buku tongue oil orchards around there. And whenever those tongue oil trees go to blooming, they got a big, well, nice sized flower on them, but I have no idea if they'll pull any nectar from that tongue oil.
Well, I mean, but Keith talks about all the time how the tulip poplar, here on that, never mind. I was thinking, he says all the time that the tulip poplar is his main flush.
Oh yeah. I mean, we just don't have a bunch of it right here at the house
Yeah.
that we know of. I mean, there's probably some scattered throughout the wood lines, don't get us wrong, but it's nothing like what we were seeing up there at the old state park the other week. I mean, it was like every other tree up there was a tulip poplar.
Oh my gosh, Tom. He says I have 5 tulip poplars over 100 foot tall. A huge pollen source, and if not rain for a week, a huge nectar source.
I'd love to plant some out here.
We brought some seeds home with us to plant.
But I don't.
I've also noticed the magnolia trees blooming too right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they're starting to open up here. Mr. Larry, I know that's kind of a, I guess, debatable topic, but we have literally watched. We've got a big homemade trellis, I guess, with the pinkish red honeysuckle on it. And I mean, I've heard a lot of people say the bees don't work the honeysuckle because they can't get down to the nectar. But we have literally watched the bees go to the base of that flower tube or whatever you want to call it, but right where it comes out of the plant or off the vine, and they'll chew a hole in the very bottom base of that flower. And I promise you, at least ours do, pull the nectar out of there. So I don't know if they do it everywhere, but I know we've seen them work the honeysuckle in the yard here.
We put a video up last year of one of them honeybees chewing the bottom of that honeysuckle and getting in there to it. But there ain't no telling how far down the video list it is in there. But
I think it was last summer, wasn't it?
I think it was last year sometime.
Yeah. Because it blew our minds. We never dreamed that they would think to choose the bottom of that flower and get anything like that. Keith,
Yeah, I
I
think it
really
was.
want to see pictures of that when yours open up. He said he's got thousands of tulip poplars, all of them with hundreds of blooms on them.
Mm-hmm. Which guy did? Go ahead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was saying. I said. I think it was. I think it was last year. You sent a texted me a video, a photo of that bee sitting there on the honeysuckle or whatever that was.
mhm.
That flower chewing it.
Yeah, that was our honeysuckle.
Yeah, that red. With that red is more like I guess a longer angel trumpet look. Best way to explain
Yeah, it's a
what it looks like.
little bit different from the yellow and white honeysuckle. Well, PJ said if it's a good nectar source, they'll get to it. He said his flower garden's in the skies. I think
Yeah,
that's an awesome sight. That Stafford Mike, we've seen them all over the blackberry flowers, like the bloom that comes before the berry, but I don't know if they do anything with the actual berry itself. I'd be lying if I told you yes or no. So I'm gonna tell you the truth. I have no clue. But I know they do the flowers.
They may get soused in the dirt whenever the things go dropping off on the ground.
Mhm.
yeah.
The drunken bees coming home.
Then you wonder why they got fights on the porch, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Surprise, surprise. Rodney just picked up another storm trap.
Well, that probably makes about 64, 65 for a given year. I can't think of anything else really that's blooming right now. I mean, there's a few little wildflowers we see on the side of the road, but I have no idea what they are. And I imagine they probably pulling a little bit off of it. But now backing up at Hannah's grandma's this weekend, I did notice this, that the man that comes up there and cuts her grandma's yard cut it a week or so ago. And the little patch of white clover is coming back up. So maybe they're getting a second round of the white clover, at least up there anyway. So whenever I was out there metal detecting yesterday, I seen several bees uh, piling that. Well, they was getting all over the white clover out there again in that patch at your grandma's house. But uh, I don't know. That's about really all that I can think of that we see that's putting off anything right now. This or so far now. Like we've been yakking back and forth. It ain't gonna be long. If we get it, like we're saying, if we get us a good rain for a couple days, that tallow is really gonna crank on up, and then tassels should be pushing out a little bit further than what they are.
Yeah.
And
Our blackberries, they already done blooming.
pretty
They're
much,
putting off the berries now.
yeah, they
Stafford Mike is saying they've got tons of blackberries a few weeks out. And Mr. Larry said he thinks theirs is clover and some blackberries are still blooming.
now I know, Mr. Larry, south central, or we'll say south central Mississippi there. And we were,
That's
let
a
me make,
that's a, trying to get a good angle on it, but that's the tallow right now. It's like 2 to 3 inches.
yeah,
Shooting up,
ours
spreads.
is little old nub right now around here. But
Yeah, you're like a little behind what I am. This was 2 weeks ago. Maybe put that on the black background. 2 weeks ago, I don't know if you see it or not. Little nub right about the middle of the screen.
Uh-huh.
That's that same limb 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so I mean, I'm my consideration on this is that everybody seems to be going. Everything seems to be going early this year. My question would be: is more stuff going to be blooming right after tallow this year because of the if it goes good, or is right after tallow when it shuts off, we're going to have a long dearth? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
that's what I'm afraid of. We're gonna get into a long dearth, which I hope I'm wrong, unless we really get into our rainy season as years past. But uh, yeah, I'm kind of afraid that with everything going so early, especially seeing this tallow coming out right now, because Lord, we ain't even got into May yet, and usually it's what about mid-May that tallow will really start cranking up, and that'll push everything into June. Then everybody started extracting at the end of June. But
We had a terrible start last year. A terrible start, but it seemed to be a prolonged nectar flow all the way through the season, all the way through that last year. I mean, it wasn't heavy, as we expected it to be, but it was continual, and it gave me the ability to leave a lot of honey on the hive and not actually feed during my spring, not spring, but fall, my winter, because when they would fly, they had food source there. I was able to leave enough on them. I didn't have to bother with feeding them last year. Um, but this year, I'm wondering what it's going to be like.
I guess it's going to be a lot of that location, as we all talk about, because I guess kind of going back to the other week, whenever we was up here in the state park, we was in Whitman, Mississippi, just about 20 miles south of Meridian, and man, it was just the privet was getting it. The blackberries were beautiful white blooms all over the place, and uh, yeah, the tulip poplar was just now starting to, yeah, they was starting to get real pretty up there. Then you drive 2.5 hours down here to the house, and our blackberry, like she was saying a minute ago, pretty well, we're down to the fruit now. And
ain't ripe yet, but it's coming.
yeah,
I've been eating blackberries off of my bush in the backyard already.
Really? Ours
Yeah.
are still red.
Well, I've got a lot of red ones, but I've got a good bit of black ones already came out. Right now, I think it's all left is the red ones. I ate all the black ones the other day, walking around the backyard.
That's my favorite time of year. Man, I can make myself sick picking blackberries. Mom used to get so mad at us because she's seeing 4 kids with one of them big plastic ice cream buckets over across the road to the fields over there to pick blackberries. And we might come home with like a half a bucket full for her to make a cobbler out of.
And you guys are all black around your mouth when you've been stuffing the
yeah.
berries in your mouth. Fingertips
Spitting
all
purple
nasty.
at each other.
I think the first
Okay.
time I did something like that, my dad took me to Canada when I was 7, and we went northern pike fishing, and they sent me on a mission to pick the wild blueberries out there in Canada through the woods. As I was picking them and stuff, came back with an empty bucket. They said, "You didn't pick no berries." I said, "Yeah, I did. I ate them all."
Well, let me
I
ask
had
y'all
me.
this one. I don't know if you got any around your house or paid attention, but we got several of them here in the yard. Now, last year, the huckleberry bloomed way early. I'm talking about we were still having sure enough freezing weather, raining, and them jokers were blooming and starting to berry about this time. But like between us and your daddy there, all of our huckleberry are just now or have had buds on them within the last week and a half, I guess. So it, it's throwing a curveball in so many different ways. Of this one's blooming early, then just using the huckleberry for example, it's behind everybody on its blooming cycle. So I don't know. Nature's doing something.
Yeah, Lisa. I was talking to Lisa. She said she was going through the yard. We were talking about the different plants we had going on in the yard right now, and she said that she had some huckleberries that were starting to get ready to bloom. They weren't bloomed yet. They were about to. She does blackberry, blueberries. Excuse me. She has blueberries too. So she has a lot of different fruit in her yard. So I mean, it's just different. I mean, each season has been different with the way. The first year I was looking to see what happened during the season. The year. Started noticing the flowers, what was planted, the cycles of things. Then last year had the winter threw a curveball, stunted
Mm-hmm.
everything, but it went all the way along. Now this year everything's starting early, way early. I'm like, I'm just trying to piece it together. I know nature isn't always going to do the same thing, but it's usually pretty consistent. So I mean,
You see Robert coming in? He said he's 34 colonies bigger after today as long as the splits take and the queens mate successfully.
Well, I heard that, brother. Congratulations on that.
goodness,
For real. That is awesome.
I'm still at 18, and I'm happy I'm at 18.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, I'm looking forward to the day we got 34 colonies to go out there and split.
Well, the new. I was looking at the nukes today. I got 3 nukes that need to go into a 10 frame before long. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have problems there. So
Just make
there's
sure
that.
you put all 10 frames in there and don't do what we did,
Yeah.
or you'll spend 7 hours cleaning up 3 hives.
Now I did get my little church house nuke finally finished up today.
Yeah.
I should have maybe do a little video on it next day or two, or
I was tickled to death to see that thing when he finished painting and varnishing it.
yeah. It took a minute.
It looks good though. It looks really, really good. So it's my favorite beehive I've ever seen. And then you started pushing buttons.
Yeah. Well, I had all day to varnish that rascal,
Yeah,
and
all day.
I went and played before I done my work instead of doing my work then playing. And before I knew it, it done got late in the evening. I was like, oh man. Well, I went to varnishing and Hannah come out there telling me, that's not going to be dry by the time we go to head home. You know that, right? And I'm like, well, I'll set it out in the sun, let it bake on it a little bit, the wind's blowing, and oh, yeah, it'll be dry.
That's what he told me. Oh, it'll be dry. Don't worry about it.
And come 5 o'clock, whenever we went to heading home a while ago, I grabbed that joker and it's just still as tacky as it can be. And I was like, well, let me just set it in the back of the truck and maybe the wind going down the highway will dry some of it out. But
Yeah, I went out there to tell him, the lady's coming in to let us go home in about 20 minutes. You ready? And he just looked at me. I was like, that box ain't dry, is it? He said, I don't want to talk about it. I was like, yeah. What do I know? I'm just a wife.
you want to tell?
Don't worry, Tim. You hear that story another 20 years from now.
Oh, you can bet he'll hear that story another 20 years from now.
I still hear stuff from 31 years ago.
She told me something earlier about being right, and I can't remember exactly how it went, but she was getting on me a little bit in her way, and somehow it fell into the part of, you and women are right all the time, and I know that. And she just looked at me. And I knew then. I was like, well, it's time for me to hush up. If not, Ricky, she'll swing on me again and cause that other one to be dislocated.
Mm.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times I've been sitting with some women with my wife, and we were talking and stuff. And one woman looked over at me and says, you're not going to win this. I said, I knew I lost when I opened my mouth. I just keep going. Just agitated. That's all I do. Just
Yes,
have
sir.
fun with it. And just keep going and have fun with it. And she just looked at me. I was like, it's just part of life. You just have to deal with it.
Keeps things interesting, don't it?
Yeah, you don't know when she's going to sneak up on you next or what she's going to do to get you back.
Or you don't know when she's just going to stop cooking for you.
That's what I was going to say. I better
She's
keep
already
my mouth
done
shut.
that. She's already done that. I have to cook most of the time.
Well, I still cook for him.
No, I was joking. It's not bad like that. It's just that she's not been feeling well lately, so I've done a lot more of the cooking, working and cooking and stuff. But I joke with her. I've been 31 years with a woman, so I must be doing something all right.
Well, I mean, you got to be able to cut up and carry on with one another. I mean, we do. I aggravate the snot out of her.
A lot of people think we're bickering with each other, but we're really just messing around kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes it interesting. That's like you said. It gives you something to do. Stories to tell the grandkids later on down the road.
That's it. Go back and, like our little adventure the other week, getting lost in the woods. It'll be one of them. Them kids will remember that. Then, we'll sit around 10, 15 years from now, lower wheels. That you remember that time we got lost and ended up a 8-mile hike instead of a 2-mile hike.
Talking about grandkids, I had another grandchild born not too long ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, her name's Mary. They named her after my mom.
Oh.
My mama's name is Mary Virginia, and Hannah's grandma's name is Mary Virginia. Any chance they named her Mary Virginia?
No, not Mary Virginia. I forgot what the middle name is. Not Virginia.
I forgot.
Just need to know what to call her,
But
huh?
but the deal that I was sitting there thinking about it. You don't hear a lot of kids being named Mary nowadays.
Mm-mm.
It was something that happened in the 40s and 50s, and our parents grew up in that time, so that's a popular name, and so bringing it back, just like my name is strange because you don't hear too many people named Edwin, but there's three of us in the family that are named Edwin.
Oh, wow.
My grandfather, myself, and my son,
Mm-hmm.
are the only three named Edwin that we have in the family.
Yeah, and he was calling you Edward a couple weeks ago. I was like, that's not his name, right?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah. He ought to call me a liar. I was like, go on social media and read that man's name. It ain't Edward.
And I didn't like that name for the longest time, but I found out my grandfather was he ended up retiring in the military as a Major Edwin Earl Brown, and he started off as a PFC in the Army Airborne
Mm-hmm.
during World War One, not World War One, World War Two, and then by the time he started off as a PFC and ended up becoming a major by the time he was out, and
Wow.
just the accomplishments that man made, fought in the Battle of Bastogne. He's a 101st Airborne. Actually the story brother the Band of Brothers
Mm-hmm.
is basically about his unit.
I got you.
Wow.
So I mean he made a whole Edwin is an old English name. So is Brown. Because Irish Irish and English use the Brown
Mm-hmm.
last name surname. So I have Irish and German, Nordic in me. So I am truly a Caucasian, I guess. Most of my people come from over there.
Yeah, and then see,
But
DC, that's my whole family. Every one of us, there's 6 kids, and every one of us, our first and middle name is out of the Bible.
Well, a lot of folks used to do that too back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
another piece of good, interesting information is my dad's name is John Brown. He's the last John Brown that's been named in our family so far. But we tracked our lineage back, come to find out the abolitionist John Brown is actually we're direct descendants from him,
Mm-hmm.
from
I
his
guess.
from his lineage.
See,
So that's
Danae
why I'm
saying,
hard headed.
let's see, Danae saying her granny is a Brown too. So
Just come on up in here, Jasper.
it,
Okay.
it's pretty cool going back to our lineage, I guess, and finding out what Maul and Paul did back in the day and the accomplishments that they did, especially to hear the ones that were wartime, World War One, World War Two, Korea, getting into Vietnam nowadays. Well, Lord, I guess some of the men and women too nowadays, Desert Storm, are grandparents. But the the heroes that come out within your family, and you hear them stories that what they went through, and you think, my word, y'all went to Hades and back and come home and done your best to transition as well as you could into civilian life, and most oftentimes you don't even get over it in a lifetime. That they tuck and hide a lot of that away, but
Mm-hmm.
still in the back of their mind, I imagine for a lot of them daily, at some point of that still crosses their mind. And
Well, I mean, you know, that is true, but then you can take into account this. My grandmother was born in 1912. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the Louisiana Purchase hadn't been completed yet. It was 1912 was the World's Fair to celebrate the Louisiana Purchase,
Mm-hmm.
and so she went from that horse and buggies, you know, in that during that time, and then going all the way to um, watching rockets being launched in the sky and computers, not even
mm,
having a TV to having a computer or a cell phone and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just that travel alone is mind boggling to see all of it happen in your lifetime. You horse and buggies to cars. You know, and then
Mm-hmm.
Wright brothers barely got the plane off the ground, and now you're flying from place to place in a jet.
Yeah. My grandma
Is it?
was talking about that not long ago, because she'll be 96 next month, and just shaking her head at what she's seen this world turn into.
she was telling us some stories. Basically the same thing. Even then,
Mm-hmm.
uh, her grandma talking about her daddy out there plowing the fields and loading up the buggies and the horse steel to go from one place to another, and how they owned a little old what they
Filling station,
filling station.
slash general store. I mean, it was everything right at the four corners where the roads come together, the dirt roads.
I'm trying to remember. Some of y'all help me out on this, but what you call it, where the man, even though they had the little grocery store gas station deal back then, this was the late 30s, maybe early 40s, probably early 40s. But you still had the gentleman that had the old pickup truck, and he had flour on there, he had sugar on there, he had seeds for sale. But I forget what she called.
She called.
That's gonna bother me. I'll think of it as soon as we get off the live. But I don't know. More like a mobile trading post, I guess the best way to explain what the way she was putting it. But she had a name for it.
Oh, wow, Mr. JW said his mama was born in 1900.
Shoot.
Larimore said his grandma called them peddlers.
There we go.
Is that what she
I
means?
think so. Yep.
I don't think she called him peddlers. Maybe it was. I don't remember.
Oh, those snake oil salesmen.
No.
Well, she said, I can't tell you how many times we would tell people would come to their little filling station, is what we'll call it, and say, look, tell Mr. So and so I need 2 pounds of black eyed pea seed, black eyed peas, so I can, do my beans, string beans, pole beans, whatever you wanted to do, limas. Tell him to bring me X amount next weekend when he comes. And they would all make a list and hand it off to that old timer. And, come next week, he'd have that old flatbed pickup truck. It was probably, I don't know, a 1920s or 1930s model flatbed pickup truck, what he was running around in. And everybody would be at that one little meeting spot whenever he was up there all the time. And that's how you got your seeds and all that stuff from the big city.
You just don't do it like that.
Yeah, I remember when growing up too, looking at the Sears and Roebuck's catalogs, Woolworth's catalogs, J.C. Penney's and stuff. You had to order stuff online. Not it wasn't online. You had to order stuff, and then they started putting stores out. Now everybody's gone back to, well, this machine we're looking at right now is the catalog, and we're ordering stuff again. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you just push a button nowadays. Well, you can have it in.
Then it's already paid for. You ain't got to wait to go send them. You get it COD or have to pay send a check in, then wait for them to get the stuff together and send it to you. It's all done with, like you say, with the push of a button. You know, money's transferred, then you're just sending the stuff.
Yeah, within a day or two, they bring it to your front doorstep, man.
Hey, Larimore had a good question.
What's he got?
I know I can do the research and find out, but I'm lazy. I feel you, Larimore. Big time. And he said, what did old school beekeepers use for frames?
Looking in some of these older bee journals, well, I have to turn the Wi-Fi on.
Yeah.
We ain't doing that again.
I think in the turn of the century, you're starting to see the Langstroth frames coming out, along with the hive. Now, going back to the mid 1800s and reading in the Foxfire books, oftentimes, especially whenever people were using the old the black locust, I think. No, the gum trees. They would drill holes through that old log and have sticks put in at different points and let the bees draw off of them then. So I must say, I imagine if they didn't have a full, complete frame, this is just me in my mind, that maybe not a whole, complete frame, but at least a top bar, and maybe loaded that puppy up with some wax and just let them draw down to a certain point. That's a good question, Larry Moore. I hadn't dug that deep into it.
Maybe we'll have a better answer for you next week.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe where the idea for the top bar hive came from. You know.
Because JW said his daddy made frames out of gum. Brian saying there's no
Caps.
Yeah, no frames or top bars, and no skeep at all. Now that's pretty interesting, getting on what Brian's saying with them old skeeps. There's a video, it's on YouTube. You may just have to Google 1970s, skeeps over in England, how they used to, beekeep back then. But how many skeeps did that man have in that video? Several.
Oh, I can't remember.
There were probably a few hundred this man had. And it was basically, if y'all watch DC's videos, there's a top on it, then there was a back. And they just took them old skeeps and they set them up on a shelf there. And the bees would run in and out of them old skeeps.
Give me a minute. I'll be right back. I got a model of one. It's made out of aluminum.
All right. Now that was pretty interesting. If you like some of the history on that type of stuff, that was a very interesting video of watching them folks. The only thing that I don't think that I could do, I'd have to pass this job on to somebody else, would be whenever they had to rework or recoat them skeeps. They done it with either horse or cow manure. And the old boy on the video, he's got him a paste made up, putting it gently. And he would just reach down and grab him a handful of it.
Brian, just put your link over there.
There you go, y'all. Any of y'all interested? Check it out, take a screenshot. Well, I don't know if you can. No, hit the link. That way you can go check it out if you want to watch it later on. But
Link on screenshot.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Tim. The model of the skep would look like, except for it'd be woven together, made into string, like strands.
mm-hmm.
There's old mock one. It's like a cookie jar, but
Yeah.
I couldn't find it for a minute. It was sitting right next to me.
That video, it goes through the whole deal of it, of how they start them out in there, and one of the older gentlemen, he was doing repairs on it, and like you talking about, they take that special kind of reed, I believe it was, and weave back in there and do repairs on things. Then that's whenever you had the lowest man on the totem pole out there doing the manure work, and load the outside of that rascal with the manure, set it out to dry, then bingo, you're ready to put bees in it.
They said in the African hive, like they feed a stick through the flame that makes it a little like popple.
Let's see. There was something else I was going to say about that too.
Yeah.
How they done the swarm catching. They had the nets. It's like a big old long tubular net. And you would have 3 or 4 people sitting in front of them skeets whenever they knew around about what time those colonies would go to start to swarm. And whenever they had such a good eye for it that bam, they run up real quick and throw that cover over the front of that entrance and catch that swarm. And this swarm catcher, reckon what they call it back then, or the netting. And after the swarm had pretty well got everybody that's going to come out and do their thing, they tie the bottom of it off, and they'd have another shed over there off to the side, and they would just take that rascal and hang it up, and you'd have a swarm of bees in that big old sock.
Well, just imagine trying to collect honey off of that. It'd be all crushed and strained.
Yes, sir.
And then the rate, then you'd end up having to start off with new comb every year.
Hey, imagine shaking one of them old boys' hands, doing all that crushing and straining. That joker put a hurting on you shaking your hand.
Yeah, because the one time we tried to crush honeycomb by hand, Man, I couldn't move my hands for like 3 days after that. That is brutal.
We found out real quick. Pick on us if you want to.
I say we were grateful for that hand crank extractor.
I tell you, I know that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That was our best, one of our best investments in the beekeeping was that extractor.
Well,
It does make it a lot quicker and a lot easier.
Oh Lord, yeah. Yeah, it did.
a lot easier.
You don't get as much wax out of the deal, but
Like
but the
DC
bee,
said, there's always trade-offs.
yeah,
Oh, it is.
yeah. Well, then again, too, you don't have to worry about them having to waste their time be rebuilding comb each year. That's where you lose a lot of your honey. It would be them building the comb again.
Yeah, because I'd have hated to take a spatula or something, and, just scrape the foundation, and then you got to smash all that what honey you can get out of it after smashing so much of it. Even like when we do our extracting around here, I try my best to do as less damage as possible whenever uncapping. That way, I just think in my world of, I'd be aggravated if somebody tore a wall down whenever all you had to do was pull a sheet of plywood off. That causes me to have to rebuild everything that you just tore down whenever I could have just took the cap off of it, spun it out, and went on my way.
That's what DC just said. He crushed this and strained his first brain, but the destruction of the comb bothered me so much I decided the bees would keep it before I destroyed any more drone comb. Yeah, Lerma, we put ours out in the sun. Like let the bees clean it up and then leave it in the sun for a day or two. We've never used soap and water to clean our extractor. Okay.
I've done the same thing. Just hose it out. Let them eat the bees, clean it out, then rinse it.
Yeah, well, he said to sterilize it. But I don't. We've never put soap and water in ours.
No, I don't. Whenever we get ready to, like, whenever we do it this year, whatever we're going to extract, now we'll take and wipe it down good, clean everything out, rinse it with the hose. Then I've got it the way our second landing on the porch is. I can take that extractor and tilt that rascal just right to where all the water will pretty well run out. Then, like she's saying, we'll let it sun dry.
Mm-hmm.
Then after that, we'll bring it on in. And
Because the sun sterilizes too. Like that's how they used to clean their like butter churns and stuff in the old days. And set it out in the sun.
coming out of store, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, we do wash it then, but like after extraction.
Oh yeah.
We don't scrub it with soap after that.
No, y'all have that, girl. Clean it out. It gets the water hose, then it goes. We put it back up until next year. But Leah, I think we're gonna wrap it up, but we are whooped.
I hear that, and I gotta get ready. I get ready for work myself tomorrow. Get my stuff together.
Well, we definitely got Miss Chris in our prayers along with everybody else.
Yeah, you said Thursday she goes.
Yeah, she's going in. What it is um, they're trying to. She's gonna end up having to have open heart, but now it's not. It's not the regular where they give you the zipper.
Mhm.
They're gonna probably go in through the ribs between the ribs on the side
Mhm.
because what she has what they call mitral um, mitral bridging, which is
Mhm.
the skin's growing over the artery, and so it goes through the skin. They got to pull it back to make sure that the valve will work properly and stuff. So that's what the tomorrow Thursday's about, to see
Mhm.
what all they might have to do.
Yeah. I'm glad they don't have to bust her open like in the middle, because that is a long recovery just from being busted
Yeah,
open like that.
they usually do that for like like heart transplants or um, bypasses and stuff because they have to get to more of the heart. They just have to get to where the artery is. Well, the catheter is not that. Where they're looking to do this other surgery where they go through the ribs. Um, it's not mitral. It's myocardial bridging is what they call it.
Hmm.
And so it's a birth defect. And it's just
Mhm.
catching it. It's just catching up with it. They've never caught it for years. She was even in the military and they never caught it. So
That's wild.
Well, we're gonna continue
but
praying for her, and Lord willing, it's a smooth process for her in her recovery. She can be on her feet in no time and get to feeling better as well.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a rough ride for a little while till she gets back on her feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be patient with her, Ed.
Like I said, I've been with her 31 years. How more patient do you want me to be?
Yeah.
No, that's a joke, guys.
Yeah.
All right,
We
well,
get it, Ed.
what's that?
I said, we get you, Joe.
Well, I thought I had to mention that because don't know who might not be taking it as a joke. That's why I said that.
Somebody go, how dare you say that about your wife?
Yeah.
And I love her dearly, man. God gave her to me. That's for sure.
That's
Because
bad.
I don't think I would have made some of those decisions I've made properly if it weren't her being around. I won't go do this and that. Oh no, I'll call the cops on you. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I back up quick.
It's a blessing having a good woman, especially one that'll keep you in line. That's for sure.
And sometimes at the time you're aggravated, but you look back on it years later and say, man, I'm glad you did that.
Ain't that the truth?
And you may be mad about it at the moment, but it's like, well, there was a reason for it, And she stopped me from stepping out of line. So,
I'm good for something.
well, she's good for a lot
Mine,
of things.
mine is just more some kind of stupidity on something. Of, you shouldn't do that, or I don't recommend you doing that.
Yeah.
Something you really want to do?
Yeah. Then she
Yeah.
lets me go sometimes, like a young, go on and do it. And that way I can give you the "oh, I told you so." And I come in and, I hear you. You ain't even got to say nothing. I hear you.
You see it in the eyes.
Oh, yes, sir.
Well, at least I don't verbally say the words "I told you so."
Not all.
I just saw the I told you so look on his face, just her face right now. She did it.
That's
Looked over at him.
I
I
don't
saw
want
it.
to say
I can
anything.
read that. I can read that a mile away.
Mm,
All
I think any
right,
husband
bro.
can read that look.
I think I should be. I should think it should be teenager 101. Learn how to read. I told you so. Looks
Early
so you
on.
know what's early on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So nothing. So there won't be no argument. I told you so. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
It's been a good evening. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Keep in touch with us, man.
We will. We will. I'll do that.
All right, man.
All right. Good night.
Good
Night.
night. Well, y'all.
Seriously. Pick his head up
Look at
and
him.
puff at me. Like we're disturbing him over here.
Well, it's his bedtime.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate everybody riding it out with us. Wasn't too eventful. We do apologize. It didn't have much together on anything really.
I think we have next Sunday off, so maybe we'll have a better show put together.
Yeah, we should have time to at least have some bee journal, or we're working on trying to get a couple of guests in, and if that works out, then we'll
Beautiful.
like I say, hopefully have a few guests here coming in May. But if not, then we'll go with it. We'll read the bee journal or whatever. I know.
We'll probably end up winging it again.
Oh yeah, it'll be a winging it. That's how every one of them is. But all right, y'all. We appreciate you watching. God bless you. Lord willing, we'll see y'all on the next one.
Y'all have a good week. Are you ready to go to bed, Jess?